Visceral fat is not the fat you see in the mirror. It is the fat you don't see that is quietly doing the most damage. You can look normal, even slim, and still be carrying a dangerous amount of visceral fat. This is why it is killing people day by day without warning, without pain at first, and without obvious signs. Visceral fat is the deep fat stored around your vital organs. It wraps itself around your liver, pancreas, intestines, and heart. Unlike the fat under your skin, visceral fat is biologically active. It behaves like a toxic organ inside your body, constantly releasing harmful substances into your bloodstream. It doesn't just sit there. It works against you every single day. One of the most dangerous things about visceral fat is inflammation. Visceral fat releases inflammatory chemicals called cytokines. These chemicals keep your body in a constant low-grade state of inflammation. Over time, inflammation damages blood vessels, organs, and tissues. This is how many chronic diseases begin quietly, long before symptoms show up. Your heart is one of the first targets. Visceral fat increases bad cholesterol and lowers good cholesterol. It stiffens your arteries and raises your blood pressure. This combination forces your heart to work harder than it should. Day after day, this strain increases the risk of heart attacks, strokes, and heart failure. Many people don't realize their heart is under attack until it's too late. Your liver also suffers. Visceral fat is closely linked to fatty liver disease, even in people who don't drink alcohol. When fat accumulates around the liver, it interferes with the liver's ability to process toxins, regulate blood sugar, and manage fats. Over time, this can lead to liver inflammation, scarring, and eventually liver failure. Your blood sugar control is another silent casualty. Visceral fat makes your body resistant to insulin. This means sugar stays in your bloodstream instead of entering your cells for energy. The result is rising blood sugar levels, prediabetes, and eventually type 2 diabetes. Diabetes doesn't appear overnight. It develops slowly while visceral fat continues to grow and interfere with normal metabolism. Hormones are also affected. Visceral fat disrupts hormonal balance in both men and women. In men, it can lower testosterone levels, leading to fatigue, low muscle mass, and reduced drive. In women, it can worsen hormonal imbalances, contribute to polycystic ovary syndrome, and increase the risk of fertility problems. Hormonal disruption affects mood, energy, sleep, and overall quality of life. Your immune system weakens as well. Chronic inflammation caused by visceral fat keeps the immune system constantly activated. Over time, this weakens its ability to fight real threats. This makes you more vulnerable to infections and slows recovery from illness. Breathing is affected too. Excess visceral fat pushes against the diaphragm and lungs, making it harder to breathe deeply. This contributes to the sleep apnea, poor sleep quality, and chronic fatigue. Poor sleep then increases stress hormones like cortisol, which causes even more visceral fat to accumulate. It becomes a vicious cycle. Your brain is not spared. Visceral fat is linked to increased risk of cognitive decline, memory problems, and even dementia. Inflammation and poor blood flow affect brain function over time. Many people think memory loss is just aging, but metabolic health plays a major role. One of the most dangerous things about visceral fat is how quietly it works. You don't feel it growing. You don't feel inflammation building. You don't feel arteries stiffening. You feel fine until damage has already been done. This is why visceral fat is often discovered only after a diagnosis like high blood pressure, diabetes, or heart disease. Stress plays a major role in visceral fat accumulation. When you are constantly stressed, your body releases cortisol. Cortisol signals your body to store fat, especially around the abdomen. Poor sleep, emotional stress, financial pressure, and chronic worry all feed this process. Even if you don't eat excessively, high stress can still drive visceral fat storage. Diet is another key factor. Foods high in sugar, refined carbohydrates, and processed fats feed visceral fat growth. Sugary drinks, white bread, pastries, fried foods, and constant snacking spike insulin levels and promote fat storage deep in the abdomen. Alcohol is especially dangerous because it promotes fat storage around the liver. Lack of movement accelerates the problem, Sitting for long hours slows metabolism and reduces the body's ability to burn fat. Even people who exercise occasionally can still carry high visceral fat if they sit most of the day. The body needs regular movement to regulate blood sugar and fat metabolism. Age also increases risk, but aging itself is not the real enemy. Muscle loss, slower metabolism, and hormonal changes make it easier for visceral fat to accumulate. But lifestyle choices determine how much damage occurs. Many people accept visceral fat as inevitable, but it is not. The good news is that visceral fat is one of the most responsive types of fat to lifestyle change. Unlike subcutaneous fat, visceral fat shrinks relatively quickly when you improve diet, reduce stress, sleep better, and move your body consistently. The body prioritizes burning visceral fat because it is metabolically dangerous. Losing visceral fat doesn't require extreme dieting. In fact, crash diets often make it worse by increasing stress hormones. What works is consistency. Eating whole foods, prioritizing protein and fiber, reducing sugar, and limiting alcohol all help reduce visceral fat. Regular walking, strength training, and short bursts of higher intensity movement signal the body to burn stored fat. Sleep is critical. Poor sleep raises cortisol and insulin resistance. Getting consistent, quality sleep helps regulate hormones that control hunger and fat storage. Stress management matters just as much as diet and exercise. Calming the nervous system reduces the signals that tell your body to store fat. Visceral fat is dangerous not because it is visible, but because it is active, silent, and persistent. It doesn't wait. It works against your organs every day you ignore it. But it is not unbeatable. When you take control of your daily habits, visceral fat responds. The choice is not about appearance. It is about survival, energy, clarity, and long-term health. Visceral fat may be killing people day by day, but awareness is the first step to stopping it.